let's look at a phenomenal PVE rogue spec for Wrath of the Lich King. Hello everyone, it's Ego, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be diving into the combat rogue. Now I have played combat majority of my rogue experience, starting of course with TBC where combat rogue shined, but in Wrath now it has become a little bit more balanced between the specs. So if you're looking to see what Assassination is like, I also have a guide for that. I will leave a link down in the description. But we're not here for Assassination, we're here to talk about combat, so let's dive right into it today. We're going to be looking at talents, glyphs, gear, rotation, and a bunch of stuff, including a class overview and my opinions on the combat rogue. So let's start with the guide. Hey everyone, before we continue, don't forget to subscribe. It's free, it shows support, and it really does help the channel grow. Don't forget to also leave a like before you leave. Thanks everyone, let's get back to the video. So for an overview of the class, Combat Rogue is still a very powerful choice in Wrath of the Lich King and is sought after by many guilds for the buffs that it brings to your party. Combat Rogues, though they may not be the top of the charts, still are able to pack a punch, so they are still a viable rogue spec. In today's guide, I'll be looking at the variation of Combat Rogue that uses fist weapons and daggers, though if you are wanting to do swords, that is absolutely okay too, though I have seen a higher damage output from the fist weapon and daggers variation. When you get to the talents, you'll see where we talked about close quarters combat. If you're wanting to do the variation with swords, just put it into the hack and slash talents and there you go. But we'll get more into the talents later, so let's dive back into the class overview here. Now from what I've been hearing, Combat Rogue will be getting better and better throughout the expansion, so if you're looking to master a rotation and be good through multiple phases, then Combat Rogue will most likely be the spec for you. As I mentioned, they both perform very well, combat and assassination, so ultimately what I have to say is pick whatever you feel is better for you. Now with all that being said, let's dive into the first section of the guide, and that's going to be the talents. Now if I do get anything wrong or you have anything to add, please let me know down in the comments, so let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the Combat Rogue talents. So you're going to obviously be in the combat tree. So we're going to go 2 out of 2 in Improved Sinister Strike. We're going to go 5 out of 5 in Dual Wield Specialization. We're going to get that hit rating through Precision, 5 out of 5. Jump into Improved Slice and Dice, 2 out of 2. Pop 1 point into Endurance, and then 5 points into Close Quarters Combat. This is what's going to allow us to use the daggers and fist weapons and give us increased critical strike by 5 points, which gives us 5%. We're going to go down to Lightning Reflexes, 3 out of 3, give us that haste. We're going to go to Aggression, 5 out of 5, which increases the damage of our Sinister Strike. We're going to go to Blade Flurry. This is an amazing AoE capability that combat rogues have, which will also open the door to Weapon Expertise, giving us that extra 10 weapon expertise, or expertise by 10. We're going to go to Blade Twisting. So a lot of the mobs that you'll be facing in raids are immune to the Daze effect. However, it does still increase the damage of 10% for Sinister Strike. So we're going to go ahead, grab 2 out of 2 Blade Twisting. Adrenaline Rush, increase the energy regeneration rate by 100% for 15 seconds. You will see more of this in the rotation section of this guide. However, this is an amazing ability to increase your damage output significantly. Next up, 3 out of 3 in Vitality, increase your energy regeneration rate. We're going to go 5 out of 5 in Combat Potency. We're going to go all the way down to Surprise Attacks. 1 out of 1, your finishing moves can no longer be dodged, and the damage dealt by your Sinister Strike, Gouge, Backstab, Hemorrhage abilities increased by 10%. So again, another flat out damage increase. Now this right here, Savage Combat, is actually a big reason why a lot of people grab a Combat Rogue, especially if you don't have a warrior in your group. Increase the total attack power by 4, and increases all physical damage caused to enemies with your poisons is increased by 4. So again, I'm going to just restate it. All physical damage caused to enemies you have poisoned and increased by 4. So this is really good. It's going to boost up any ferals that you're going with. It's going to be boosting up DKs. It's going to be boosting up other rogues. It's going to be boosting up hunters. Anybody who does physical damage, they will benefit from Savage Combat. So you're going to put 2 out of 2 points in there. 5 out of 5 in Prey on the Weak, so your critical strike damage is increased by 20% when the target has less health than you as far as the percentage of total health. So this is pretty self-explanatory. It's a 20% increase in your damage. Next up, we're going to pick up Killing Spree. So this is another one of your abilities that you will see more in the rotation side, but it is a 1.25 minute cooldown, and it'll increase all damage done by 20% for the duration while you are using your weapons to basically just do a Gatling gun of assaults on a target. So next up, we're going to go into the Assassination tree, and we're going to pick up 5 out of 5 in Malice, which again increases our crit strike chance. We're going to pick up Blood Splatter, which increases the damage caused by Garrote and Rupture abilities by 30%. Again, more in the rotation on that, but essentially what's going to happen is you're going to open with a Garrote and you're going to constantly keep Rupture up, so this talent is a must. Then you're going to be looking at Ruthlessness, 3 out of 3, gives your finishing moves a 60% chance to add a combo point to your target. The less combo points you need to generate, the more you can use your finishing moves, right? So we're going to also go into 5 out of 5 in Lethality. We're going to drop 1 into Vile Poisons. We're going to drop a 4 out of 5 into Improved Poisons. Now, if you did want to, you could also move Vile Poisons into Improved Poisons. But I like the extra damage dealt by my poisons more than just going for that extra little percentage in increasing my chance to apply deadly poison. I think that this is going to be better to have that 1 point in Vile. You don't put anything in the subtlety tree. For the glyphs, you will be looking at Glyph of Killing Spree, which reduces the cooldown of Killing Spree by 45 seconds. That's why my cooldown is different than what yours would be if you don't have this glyph. So you're going to be looking at Killing Spree. Then you're going to look at Glyph of Tricks of the Trade. The bonus damage and threat redirection granted by your Tricks of the Trade ability lasts an additional 4 seconds. So this glyph can be swapped out for other glyphs if you so desire. I've seen people use Vigor, but honestly, I don't see much of use in Vigor. I prefer Tricks of the Trade, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's going to give more value to your party. And then, of course, you're going to go for Glyph of Fan of Knives. Fan of Knives is going to be huge for your AoE capability as a combat rogue. That is what you excel in compared to other rogue specs, is your AoE. So you're going to grab Fan of Knives, increases your damage of your Fan of Knives by 20%. So again, combat tree, assassination tree, and these are going to be your glyphs. You don't touch the sub tree, and that's going to be your talents for the combat rogue. So let's have a look at the gear for the Combat Rogue. Now the Combat Rogue gear, similarly to the other guide in the Assassination Rogue, is very similar. So the only thing that's going to really be highly different is going to be the weapons that you're going to be using. So obviously you're going to be using one dagger in your offhand, but in your main hand you're going to be wanting a fist weapon or a heavy hitting dagger. Now the reason I went for a fist weapon is because Greed is going to be your pre-raid bis, and it also still benefits from the close quarters combat. Now you want a hard hitting main hand weapon because that's what the Sinister Strike, unlike Mutilate, scales off of. So it does not take into account necessarily your second weapon, it's your primary weapon that will be making you blunt of your damage. The good chunk of your damage will come from your main hand. Now, for poisons, usually when you're an assassination rogue, you're going to swap these out. You're going to have your fast in your main hand with deadly poison, but for combat it's reversed. So you're going to actually 9 times out of 10 have instant poison in your main hand and deadly in your off. The only time that this would change is if you're going against a large group of trash mobs. Then you would most likely switch to deadly on your main hand, and you would go instant on your offhand. That is the only times that you would switch your poisons, but I haven't noticed much of a difference, honestly, so I would just stay instant and deadly. For your sockets, your meta is going to be, again, still the Relentless Earthsiege Diamond, so 21 agility, increased crit damage. Your enchants are pretty universal, just as they were with the assassination, so I have expertise on a majority of my items that are enchanted, and the reason for that is because I wanted to hit expertise cap. Same thing with my gems. I have expertise gems right now. Now, if you did hit expertise cap, let's say you got the chest piece that has the expertise on it from Malagos, then you could swap out some of these expertise gems for attack power gems. Now, for your stat priority, what you're going to be looking at for your combat rogue is going to be, again, relatively the same thing as the assassination rogue. You're going to be looking at hit rating being the first and foremost thing you want to get, and then you want to go to expertise, agility, attack power, armor pen, haste, and crit. That is going to be the list of stats that you're going to prioritize as a combat rogue. Okay, so let's look at the rotation for the combat rogue. So once again, your poisons are going to be instant on your main hand and deadly on your offhand. So essentially what's going to happen is you're going to come in stealth, of course. Your target is going to be in front of you, you're going to be behind your target. You're going to pop a Garrote, and you're going to pop Slice and Dice. You're going to start building up your combo points. And once you get 4 or 5, you're going to go ahead and pop a Rupture. okay? And then from there, you again just keep spamming Sinister Strike. You're going to want to get your Slice and Dice back up, and you're going to want to continue to just build your combo points with your Sinister Strike, okay? And that's going to be the basics of your rotation. Now, in the event that you don't have a warrior with you, you could also start putting in some points into exposed armor, so you can put some of your combo points into exposed armor, but you do not ever want to let Slice and Dice drop. Always prioritize your Slice and Dice over your exposed armor or your Rupture. Now, after your Slice and Dice, your priority is Rupture, and after Slice and Dice, your priority is exposed armor. If you don't have a warrior, then it's going to be Rupture. And then from there, you can continue to just spam and spam Sinister Strike and keep those two up. Now, in regards to the difference between Eviscerate and Rupture, okay? Rupture costs less energy, and the attack power scales better with Rupture than it does Eviscerate. So if you're going against a single target, you're always going to want to keep your Rupture up. Don't use Eviscerate. Now, if you're going against multiple targets, so if you're using Blade Flurry, for example, you're never going to want to use Rupture. You're always going to want to use Eviscerate. Now, there's a reason for this. The reason why is because when you're using Blade Flurry, Eviscerate procs off Blade Flurry. So you can eviscerate multiple people or multiple targets when using Blade Flurry. However, Rupture does not go to multiple targets. So in the event that you're using Blade Flurry for multiple targets, you're going to go, of course, for the Eviscerate and not the Rupture, while always keeping up your Slice and Dice and spamming Sinister Strike for your combo points. Now, as a combat rogue, you do get a few abilities, like, for example, Blade Flurry, like I mentioned, Adrenaline Rush, and Killing Spree. So Blade Flurry is going to be your main source of AoE damage. It's going to be what you really put out a lot of damage with when you're dealing with multiple targets. So essentially what happens is Blade Flurry allows you to attack a secondary opponent with all of your attacks and increases your attack speed by 20%. This effect lasts 15 seconds, and once it expires, you can only again attack one target at a time, so that will be Blade Flurry. Adrenaline Rush will increase your energy regeneration rate by 100% for 15 seconds. Now, the key to using this ability is knowing when to use it properly. Now, you don't want to use Adrenaline Rush when you're full energy. Ideally, what you want to do to maximize the amount of energy that you get from this ability is use it when you're energy starved. So when you are completely low on energy, pop an Adrenaline Rush, get your energy back, and you can start spamming up your combo points very quickly and get that burst damage. And then, of course, you have your Killing Spree. So with your Glyph, you will have 1.25 minutes, so almost a minute and a half, every time that you could use your Killing Spree. So this is going to be, again, another burst damage opportunity for you as a rogue. So in between, let's say, after using your Adrenaline Rush, you still have your Slice and Dice up and your Rupture. Go ahead, pop your Killing Spree. You want to typically keep it on cooldown and use it whenever it's free. Now, for things like Potions of Speed and all that stuff, you want to typically use it when you're in your high damage windows. So, for example, when you have Adrenaline Rush up, that's when you would put a Potion of Speed up as well, because the more cooldowns that you use at one time, typically the higher damage output you're going to bring to the table. So that's just the basic of the rotation, and if you master your rotation as a combat rogue, you can compete with other rogues in the damage meters. That's going to be it for the Combat Rogue Guide for Wrath of the Lich King. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. I absolutely appreciate it. You're an absolute legend. And if you like the content, of course, leave a like down below before you leave and sub to the channel. It greatly helps the channel grow. If I missed anything, let me know down in the comments below. I always love to hear your feedback. Now, with all my shameless plugs out of the way and all that being said, once again, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next video.